Hello everyone, it's me again. First I'd like to apologize for my last video. I said that in Islam they pray, or they have the call to prayer 7 times a day. It's actually 5 times a day, so that's my fault. I really should check that before I say it. So today's video is going to be about where to visit in Egypt. Now I know this is a huge topic, but I'm going to try to make it really kind of short, so you kind of get an idea of the things you can see inside of Egypt. So I just want you guys to know that this is my opinion of places you can go visit. Some of the places I haven't been to myself and I hope to go to this year, but just to let you know, I'm not trying to insult anyone or, say that one place is better than another. I'm just giving you a list of places that you could possibly go see, and hopefully a bit of information if the video doesn't go too long. So you guys know the usual Pyramids of Giza or the Valley of the Kings, but there's actually so many more places you can go visit in Egypt, which actually surprises a lot of people. My family came to visit recently and they only visited for 3 days thinking that would be enough, and there's so many other things that came up that, I kind of had to say, well, if you stayed longer, could have gone and seen it, but, you get my point. So let's start with the north of Egypt, or also called Lower Egypt. I'm also going to include the Sinai in this area, in this topic. So note that I have not traveled to Lower Egypt or Northern Egypt that much. I've only been there really once, so most of the stuff I'm going on is rumors or what I've heard from coworkers or friends. So we'll start with Alexandria. Yay! The famous Alexandria with Cleopatra and Mark Antony and Julius Caesar, all those famous people. The Library of Alexandria, not the famous one, but the one they built, is only open on weekdays, so I know when I want to go during the week so I can go see it, because apparently that's beautiful and it's all natural light and there's no actual light bulbs or anything in it, which I think is so cool. Now, note, rumor. I heard from some colleagues that Alexandria is actually a lot dirtier than Cairo is, which is saying a lot, and that they're also a lot more conservative there versus Cairo or Upper Egypt or South Egypt. So just be careful when you're going there to make sure you do keep note of covering chest, shoulders, knees, just so you don't have any issues with that. I also heard from another colleague that it's a wonderful place and she goes there almost every weekend and she loves it. Now let's talk about North Sinai. So just like the news kind of portrays it, I would not suggest to go there. Right now it's not that safe. Even though it's not as bad as the media portrays it, it is still pretty bad. So just stay away from there. South Sinai. So in South Sinai there's El-Sheikh, which is a huge tourist area for diving. It's right on the Red Sea, so it's beautiful. I have not been there though yet. Dahab is another place which I've only heard wonderful things about. A lot of my coworkers go there almost every weekend to go diving, and they love it. It's a lot less touristy there, but it's still really wonderful. Then there's Ras Mohammed, which is another place. It's actually a place in the Sinai I have been to. It's beautiful. It's in a park that's protected by the military, and it's really big for diving, and you sleep in these little tents, and it's so nice to just wake up and at your feet is like the water, and it's so blue and so nice. I want to go back. Now in Cairo, so we're kind of moving down a bit more south. So there's so many places you can go see in Cairo. I'm sorry if some of these places aren't in Cairo themselves, but I'm kind of talking about the area. So of course there's the Giza pyramids, the most awesome famous pyramids of Egypt. I would suggest you go for a ride on a camel around the pyramids. I did that with my family and they loved it. There's also the museum, which is in Cairo. It is one of the worst museums, in terms of how they sorted everything, but that's because when they first built the museum, it was only supposed to hold a few kind of items, and then it grew and grew and grew and grew and grew and grew until suddenly there was all this stuff shoved into this tiny little area. Plus it doesn't have AC, but good news! They're building a new museum to hold a lot of those items right next to the pyramid. So hopefully in the next couple of years it will finish building and we'll be able to go and see the items that are protected, because right now it makes me so sad that it's not protected. Then there's Memphis, not to be confused with the one in the sea, but it's really famous for Ramses II, the pharaoh. Then there's Saqqara, spelled with 2 Q's, which is a step pyramid, and it's really, really cool to go there because you can see all these other pyramids around you, and it's super, super cool. Then there's the Khan al-Khalili, which is a marketplace right in downtown Cairo. It's super cool to go see. I wouldn't suggest really buying anything there because you have to be really careful because there's like a lot of just stuff in China. It's like a cheap little souvenir store if you want kind of you don't want to spend a lot of money. You can buy a bunch of souvenirs there. Only a small part of it's actually for tourists, and then there's this huge, huge, huge part that's for all the locals. It also holds one of Egypt's oldest cafes, but you know, they all think they're an old cafe, so don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I heard. And there's Coptic Cairo, which is really, really cool if you're into Christianity or, you know, Christian religion. You get to see where Moses washed up on the reeds and the Pharaoh took him in and yada, yada, yada. And then there's Garbage City, which is a lot better than it sounds, trust me. It's built by the Coptic Christians when they were kicked out of Cairo. It was named because they actually found a lifestyle in which they collect the garbage, or at least 40% of the garbage from Cairo City. And it's amazing the stuff they have done there. They started out as a super poor, and they grew and grew and grew, and now they have schools and hospitals, and they have all these sort of things that it's just amazing to go see that people who come from nothing could build for themselves. Also, it's really cool to go see there and see their churches. They have 2 built into a mountain that holds like thousands of people, and it's so cool to go see because they have carved into the mountains. Definitely go see her, even though the name might scare you away. If you go there, you also should go to see APE, APE, which is the Association for the Protection of the Environment, and it's super cool because all these ladies get together and they weave and they make stuff out of paper and materials, and it's super, super, super cool to go see. Also in the area is the Citadel, which is super cool to go see. It's built by Muhammad Ali, not the boxer, but one of the presidents. Super cool to go see because that could have been what tore down the pyramids in the end, but because he wanted limestone for his mosque, but since they actually found a quarry that was closer, it would have saved them more money than dragging all the limestone over from the pyramids. It saved the pyramids, thank goodness, but it's also where a lot of people died. But it's really cool to go see because it's raised up on this cool platform and you can see it all around, and it's big and it's beautiful, so I would definitely suggest you go see there. Let's work our way a bit south now. We're going to talk about South Egypt. There are so many things you can go see in south of Egypt. I did a Nile cruise twice, and that helped me to go see a bunch of places down there without having to really worry about, you know, driving a lot. We just kind of cruised down the Nile, we'd stop, we'd get out, we'd see a couple places, we'd eat, and then we'd come back, and it was really, really nice. The places you can go see, I've been to twice, and they're really, really cool if you like ancient history. So of course there's the Valley of the Kings, where you can go to King Tut's tomb. I wouldn't suggest King Tut's because his is not really, because so many people, you pay £100 to go in, which is like nothing, it's $15. I wouldn't suggest it because it's actually the smallest tomb that's there, and also the worst preserved because they're in such a rush because he died young. Wouldn't suggest to go there. But there are a lot of other really, really, really cool tombs there that you can go in and see that are really well preserved. You buy a ticket and get seen into 3, so don't think you can go see them all. I wish you could, but you only get to go into 3. And sometimes you have to be careful if you have some disability. It might be really hard to get into some because you have to climb down really far and come back up, and they're really small. And there's also the Temple of Luxor, which was really cool to go see, and the Temple of Karnak. Now in Aswan, there was the Philae Temple, which which is the Temple of Love. So cool. You kind of boat out there and go see it, and they moved it. And there's Abu Simbel, also really cool. They had to move that too because of the flooding. Please note that if you go to see Abu Simbel, it's not something you can just drive out and go see. You have to go with like a group with some security and stuff like that, because they're worried about people being a bit safe out there. But you know, I never felt as safe, and it was so cool to go see. Definitely super cool to go see. I was very jealous. Some of the a teacher at my school got to go with a bunch of students and actually go see where the one time of year the light perfectly hits the statue at the back, and oh, so cool, so cool. Unfinished obelisk. Really cool to see how it's made, and you know, I'm really glad I wasn't that person who hit it and it cracked because of me, because I'm pretty sure that person would have been killed, because it's a lot of work. And finally, there's the Temple of Komo'obu, which means Gold Mountain or Gold Hill, I believe, as far as I remember. And it was really cool to go see that too, because it was one of the most well-preserved medical temples. What I found really interesting is while you pay to go in and see the temple, some Egyptians pay to go in to take pictures or film you. So just keep that in note. There was a couple times where, like, you know, I would turn around and I'd see like a kid fixing cameras taking pictures of my group and I, which is really weird. So, and also something kind of cool but kind of weird is when I went down on the cruise the second time, we went to a temple and we were looking around and our tour guide was taking us. It's just me and another person, and all of a sudden this family comes up and turns to our tour guide and asks him Arabic, and we're like, what? And he's like, ask them. And the family also came around us and like started setting up like they were wanting to take a picture with us, and I was like, what's going on here? And then the guy's like, no, ask them to take a picture. And the guy's like, oh, can we take a picture with you? And I'm like, no, sorry, because a lot of the times in kind of South Egypt, they don't see a lot of foreigners. So as a foreigner, you're kind of like, oh, cool, let's take a picture with a foreigner. And you're like, So I just be careful. Like with families, it's probably not as bad. Like I could have probably said yes with the family, but if it is a young Egyptian man or a single Egyptian man, and you're a female, I would probably say no. Just because, once again, rumors I heard was that the Egyptian boys will then go on and be like, look who I slept with, ooh, ah. And so I suggest you don't kind of take a picture with their boys. But that's just me. You could totally do whatever you want to, but just be on the aware of that kind of stuff that happens. So this is my video for touring in Egypt, and I hope it's kind of answer some of the questions of places you could travel to. There's so many more places you can go see, just vacation spots where you can go chill on the beach, and you know, there's just so many places. And I definitely suggest, if you're not gonna come here to teach, that you at least travel here and see some of these places, because it's definitely worth your while. Thanks for watching once again, and I'll see you next time.